Hello and what's up, guys, and welcome to the first episode on in 2021. And on this episode, I have a special guest, and I'll let him introduce himself. And Karibu.
What's up, Africa? My name is Boniface Omina. Old pals with Mr. Daddy Africa over here. We went to high school together. 4, 6, 7 years down the line, still amazing friends. I personally work in the event space, different parts of the world at the moment. Student at the Leadership University in Mauritius, and super happy to be here chatting up with our boy Daddy Africa.
Yeah, man, it's such an honor to have this call with you. From huko mbali jameni, watu wa Kenya lazima watambue, hata kama interview lazima ifanywe, hata ukienda wapi. I'm so honored to have you on board.
For sure, man.
Yeah, so the topic we're going to discuss is on some of the hassles and what's helped people in campus struggle to find their way to connect with people and even work. So we're going to get into a discussion and discuss how we can help others in establishing that. So are you excited and ready for this? So guys, the discussion we're going to have is on ways as a campus student you can maneuver and find your ways to gain the experience that companies desire and want us to have. So we're going to get in the discussion with Boniface Omina right here and discuss with you guys and help you and give you highlights on how you can maneuver through. So I'll just jump into the first question. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so is it wise to start working besides being a campus student? Do you think it's actually really wise?
I feel like it'll be very unwise to not look at various opportunities to venture into just various ways, various income generating schemes, or just diversifying revenue streams. Not right. So before we get into diversifying, coming up with ways to earn money as a campus student. So I feel like the correct approach to that one would be, setting up businesses or starting businesses or trying to earn money as a campus student. Because in the context of Kenya, I'll speak about various experiences from Kenya, my experience in Kenya with campus students, my experience in the United States with campus students, and now here in Mauritius with campus students.
Yeah.
And what you find, like the average age of a campus student in Kenya is between the age of 19 to 24, depending on whether they're the first year or their fourth year average degree program. Yeah. And this is a student who's probably living with their parents and directly depending on their parents. Yeah, directly depending on their parents for that financial support. And that financial independence is what I'll highlight as the most important thing in this situation. The more financially independent you are from your parent, the more it is for you to get to a point of self-actualization. What does that mean? That means that you're able to take control of what you want to do, where you want to go, the activities that you want to get involved in. From simple things like, oh, I want to go to this party, I want to visit my friend here, I want to go to this, to this meeting. That being able to have that control of what you want to do at the time. And it's really difficult for it to like see this in an African perspective, one, because of our older generation, our parents. It's very different from how a university student in the United States will go about that self-actualization process, that financial independence, looking for that extra money from not just the African parents, not just from like the home context of my parent would be okay with me doing this, but also from the economy. So, for example, when I was in the United States in 2019 doing a
Yeah.
program, and I was able to get a part-time job as a waiter. It was super cool, super fun. Never thought I'd ever do a waiting job before, but it was hella crazy. It was super fun. And I was able to earn some good money. And I was just working part time over the weekends, and I'd earn about $300. Half of that would go to my own tuition because I
Yeah.
was I was footing my tuition costs for the program that I was doing, and the other half would go into now. Oh, I want to buy shoes. I want to buy meals. I want to do this and that. I want to go here. I want to hang out with my friends over here. And that financial independence is what was the most encouraging bit. So because it was easier, it's easy to get a part-time job that will pay really well. It's easy to find university students driving cars that they own themselves, not just in having the parent provide that car. But it's very different back home in Kenya when you know unemployment is already a big issue. So how do you even go about? So now, no, you might find yourself, all right, now I can't directly depend on someone to employ me. I'm gonna have to start my own business on the side. Now we go into, okay, what small businesses do people get into? One thing that you've noticed about 2020 is that e-commerce people saw a lot of benefits in e-commerce. So whether you're selling jewelry on your Instagram page, or shoes, or you're doing makeup for people, people moving to content creation on YouTube and the various social media platforms that are out there.
Yeah.
So it begs the approach is very different depending on which country you're in. At the moment, I'm in Mauritius, very small island, but a very, very interesting, diverse population of students, not just in ALU, but in schools around. We're at a party there on Friday, um, down at some beach club, and it's interesting, like the different students from different parts of Africa, whether it's from Middlesex College or other universities that are around there. So also seeing how students here are going about it, it's very dependent on your own personal upbringing, very dependent on which country you're in, which economy you're working with, which challenges. We'll get into challenges a bit later. Um, but yeah, I feel like it is very, very important for young college students and university students to look at various ways of approaching whether it's a need for financial independency, or as you mentioned, career experience. How will you translate what you're doing now on your Instagram page or your YouTube channel
Yeah.
to experience that unfortunately is you know needed, and companies put a very high um you know importance on that.
Yeah.
But how can you be creative about it? How can you be smart about packaging yourself, building your personal brand, and marketing yourselves to companies looking as attractive as possible? The world
Yeah.
that we're in today, we're competing on a global scale.
Yeah.
I remember last year I moved out of my parents' place between September and December, and I was living at Quirtu Wilson View. Very, very diverse community of students. At that time, there were students, a couple of friends of mine in Harvard, Stanford, and those Ivy League universities. And these are people sending in their resumes and their career portfolios to the likes of Facebook, Google, for summer internships. I have an amazing friend. She's in Harvard. She was able to secure an internship with Facebook this summer. So
Amazing.
the the more you understand that you're competing on a global scale,
Yeah.
and what global markets will ask of you, from simple things like your career experience and how you're packaging yourself for them, the sooner you start tailoring yourself and positioning yourself to secure such opportunities.
Yeah, that's amazing. I also think and support that idea that even as a college student, whenever you have that opportunity to go work outside, get that experience, because
Yeah,
you learn certain skills that you won't get to just learn while also you're in school. So I don't
yeah,
actually really encourage people to find a hustle if you can. Like for me, I chose YouTube. I chose to run this organization. I also
yeah.
do part time
And
because
you're doing great. And you're doing
thanks,
great at it, yeah,
man.
man.
I appreciate,
Love
man.
to see it.
And also, we'll just go into the next question because I think you've really exhausted that. And the next question would be, what areas of field should actually people go check out? Having in mind that people are students, so even with the pressure of the older generation that unahitaji kusoma, you need to focus on school. Yeah, which areas do you think are advisable for some people to join in?
Yeah, I'll just mention a few. These are a couple of areas that I've been able to dip my toe in, and just have a feel of how that industry sort of looks like. And you can get a lot of articles on this online by just simply searching the same question. But some areas that I'd want to bring to the table, and this is something that we've seen more recently with what's going on with the global pandemic and everything. Something as simple as education has really changed.
Yeah.
And we're seeing the role that edtech is playing in that. So that's the first field that I'd like to mention, and it's very broad. As broad as your definition of education is. I feel like I wouldn't want us to be caught in that conservative perspective of education, not being able to differentiate between education and academics. Your education goes far beyond your 844-2663 curriculum. It goes into how you're acquiring skills. So what we're seeing EdTech do, for example, last year I was head of growth at an EdTech company called Chaptr Global. It's basically an EdTech platform where we educate young learners, young professionals on areas of emerging technology, from data science to blockchain to AI. And it was very interesting interacting because we were running this cohort program. We had about 30 different young university students from all the way from second to fourth year, all across Kenya, whether it's JKUAT, Kimathi, UON, and just spending time taking these university students through. I was running the career development program, so looking at which areas these young professionals are focusing on, the areas of their strengths, and how they're looking to plug into the industry. And that was just one edtech platform that was it was on the acquisition of skills in data science and blockchain. There's such a wide variety of approaches on this, and it goes back to how smart are you going to choose to approach these industries. Are you going to make use of platforms such as Zoom? Are you going to build your own online platform? When you do make such a decision on that, you break it down to, who am I trying to reach? Are my customers in a position to do they have a smartphone? Kenya is leading in terms of internet connectivity on the whole African continent.
Actually, so
can I give you like a silly example? A silly example?
Yes.
You realize, I feel like as a Kenyan, I've realized how privileged I am once I step out of Kenya when it comes to certain things. Something as simple as M-Pesa. The mobile money transfer here is almost inexistent. You get what I mean? So you're trying to send someone money and you're like, okay, how am I gonna go about it? You literally have to go to the bank or use bank transfer and then have them find a way to withdraw it wherever it is that they are. Something like, you see, our transport is a very big issue in Nairobi. It's very congested and everything. So there's a need for boda bodas, there's a need for Taxify, Uber. There's no Uber in Mauritius.
Wow. So how do you go about that?
You call a taxi. So it's good and bad. So what the government in Mauritius has done, they've kept the services and products very local. So Uber is a US company. If it's foreign, if they were to set up in Mauritius, they would be losing the money that customers will be paying would be going to Uber. It wouldn't be circulating the economy. Exactly. So that's one of the reasons that they don't have it here. But then the roads here are super clear. There's nothing like traffic. So transport isn't a big issue. Again, it's a very small island. So what does that mean? That means things like Glovo. Ordering food online, like online having them deliver, or oh, I want to send this pen to Yo-Yo to Daddy Africa, wherever he is. So depending on the markets that you're in,
Yeah.
how you approach the problem solution process is very different. So one thing that is I'd encourage very much, back to the question of what to tap into, really look at the problems that you're facing in your everyday lives. Entrepreneurship is very underrated and overrated at the same time. When it's a buzzword that's thrown around, oh, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm an entrepreneur. Just because you're selling shoes or something like that doesn't mean you're an entrepreneur. And that means you're in business, you're a businessman, you're a businesswoman, and that's
Yeah.
super okay. But when you talk about entrepreneurship, there's a whole entire learning curve to that. There's a whole entire growth curve to that. It's more introspective, and you need to dig a lot deeper into that one. Something that it's very underrated, and I don't feel young people understand this as much, is the
Yeah.
importance of agribusiness, like agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
So ways to tap into agribusiness, including integrating technology, through agri-tech. So I have a friend of mine, amazing friend. He's called Jefferson. He's been in the agri-tech space for the past 4 or 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
And he lives in Limuru. Started an organization to empower the farmers and
Yeah.
set up hydroponic systems for them. So being able to see, okay, what problem are these simple farmers facing? How can we make it easier for them to produce their products? How can we link them to markets? Another area that I'd encourage young people to just check out is access to services. Now this ranges from financial services to health services to being able to put people in front of their customers. That's one of the aspects, things that Jefferson was doing. So okay, we have my farmers back home in the village. I'm from Busia. So okay, we have farmers in Busia. What are they growing? Maize or whatever it is, sugarcane, along the western side. Right? How can we provide access to markets for these people? Tailor something around that. Talk to who you want to talk to, build the relevant networks, build a model around it, and give people that services. People will pay you to get to people. It's funny what people pay people to do. Funny enough. So like, um let's talk about marketing. You said that you want to major in marketing.
Yeah.
um I want a bit of that as well. And you find something interesting with companies when it comes to advertising and everything. Companies pay you to make them look good.
Definitely.
So from, oh, I have a YouTube channel, I've built up, a very good following. A lot of people are, eating up my content. Tailor, some ads, some Google ad play, whatever around that. Talk about companies' products on your social media, paid partnerships that we're seeing on Instagram and everything. If you're able to leverage your social currency, which a lot of influencers are doing this, companies will come and tell you, hey, put my fan in your video. And people will, because Daddy Africa is the one telling us, oh, buy this product, oh, buy this Fanta, try this new Fanta flavor. Companies are going to pay you so much money for that.
Yeah.
So yeah, access to services, um, agribusiness, from agri-tech to tapping into various markets. EdTech is something which I takes will take a lot more to figure out, but these are some of the booming industries, and this thing is changing not just in Kenya but all across the world. Look
Yeah.
at what companies like Finland and other parts of the UK are flipping their models. In the like, if COVID has shown us that you don't need to go to school physically. You don't need to physically go to school. At the moment in ALU, we're about 200 first year students, and we have second, third, and fourth year students. But 80%, like even 90% of the second, third, and fourth year students are still in their countries, whether it's Kenya, whether it's Nigeria, Egypt, South Africa, Zimbabwe, Congo. They don't need to come physically be in our campus here in Mauritius to be able to go through what they need to learn, the content that they need to get. I have an amazing friend of mine. He's in Forex. That's something else. Taking advantage of various investment opportunities. Forex is something that is I feel like is very underrated. People just talk about it for the buzzword, for the sake of it, but investing time and energy in the financial literacy that goes behind that, and looking at what can you invest in as young people. That's the difference between the financial markets in Africa and the West, whether it's the UK or the US or even China. How many people are investing and being smart about it. If you follow like local, the most recent, what happened with GameStop and their stocks, and there was some newbie traders were in there, and they were able to flip the whole system. And this is just from what they're able to do behind their smartphones. So I feel like from my perspective, those are some of the areas that I would put out there. But there's so much more research that you can do to find out what would work in your locality. The beauty about ALU is that we're in class with people from all across the continent, so getting to see the perspectives from them. Business is very different. So for if you're tuning into this and you're in Mauritius, you're in Kenya, you're in the US, you're in Nigeria, and wherever, do a lot of research on where you're living. Look at how you can integrate various markets. With the new Africa Free Trade Area, there's so much potential that has for the continent, being able to encourage that local trade amongst Africans and being able to connect different markets on the continent. That's something that you can tap into as early as now. We have the East African community. We have the same passports. That makes traveling around East Africa much easier. That makes starting businesses in Ethiopia, Tanzania, Rwanda. If you don't have your market in Kenya, there's Uganda right there. There's Tanzania down there. You can start businesses. You can start your business in Rwanda overnight. You get what I mean? So don't limit your scope to just what you as a university student can do in Kenya.
Yeah.
What can you sell to your university students in Rwanda that you can sell to your university students in Kenya?
I think I lost you. I don't know what happened. I just lost you.
Just East Africa. There's so much potential out there. Sorry, it's really hot. It's really hot here in Mauritius and in the room that I'm in. So you see me fanning myself.
No worries. I think the connection is back now. It had disappeared for a minute, but it's okay now. Yeah.
Okay.
How do you feel like you have exhausted that?
I feel like that was a good one.
Yeah.
Did a sip of water.
Also, what I'd really advise people to look into, you also need to look into what you're also passionate about so that you can enjoy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you also need to look, like for me, probably it's doing productions, and that's what I'm in right now. And
Yeah.
I definitely look into entertainment, film production, and all that. So even as you're getting into this space, people need to understand that as much as you won't, okay, sometimes you just go there for the experience as much you're not really interested and you just want to know how things work. Try also to find something that you do enjoy, right?
Yeah. Something I'm so sorry I didn't talk about that. One thing I've loved to see grow over recent years, and if you can just take us back to like when we were in Form 1, in the Nana school, Daddy Africa, when like how we've noticed how we've seen the entertainment industry grow.
Yes.
From music to film, more specifically, yeah. That is something so commendable for Africa. We've seen like 3 different genres of music come up in the past 8 years. Whether it's gengetone, it's nuts, and just the potential that is in there in the music industry. And yeah, we'll have some older folks who will understand just where the motivation comes from. You're seeing Ezekiel Mutua on the news, every other month, talking about putting down various artists. But the movement that is continuing, had begun and is continuing, is being fueled by the people. The people have the power are giving power to these artists, to these musicians, as they are listening to their music, pushing out their content. And I feel like that's one of the most beautiful things that we're observing at the moment, just how Kenyans are rallying behind the entertainment industry, and we need a whole lot, we need a lot more of that,
Yeah.
out there.
Okay, that's amazing. Thank you for that. And we'll go into the last question. Um, this is also what people don't know how. I also struggle with it at times. I have to admit,
Yeah.
I'm not perfect. How are you able to balance both worlds? Work, there's the pressure from work, there's the pressure from school, there's the pressure from our parents, our neighbors, our friends. I mean, sometimes you get so tired just from thinking of this type of pressure that you receive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for you, I know you're a daredevil. So as long as you know what you do,
Don't try this at home.
yeah.
Yeah.
So how are you able to find that balance yourself? And even, yeah, how are you able to find that balance between work, the social life? You need to get that balance. You
Mm.
need that equilibrium. How do you go about it?
Nice. So I'm gonna put out a disclaimer right now. What I'm about to say, don't don't try this at home, folks. But yeah, to answer this specific question, I'm going to just speak about my entire life, what I've been able to experience in terms of working as a student. And this started way back in high school. I got
Yeah,
my first job at a grocery store when I was in Form 2. My best friend called Yuri, his parents owned a family grocery store.
yeah,
So over like the April holidays in 2016, we just go there, help out, in terms of organizing the fruits on the shelves,
yeah,
washing crates, helping customers pick out their groceries. Um, and we got paid like 10,000 Kenyan shillings. And for a Form 2 student, that's some big bucks. You know what I'm talking
yeah,
about? Some money right there.
yeah,
Um, and my dad is the one who forced me to quit. And he was like, he wasn't seeing me do my homework. That was his reason. Kid you not. He wasn't seeing me do my homework. Doesn't mean I wasn't doing my homework.
yeah, true.
He's not seeing me do my homework. And that was, you know, a lot of people can relate with that, just what goes on at home when you're back home, for the holidays and stuff like that. Um, and at the same time, on top of what I was getting involved with in school, um, so like by the time I was in Form 2, I knew I wanted to come to ALU,
Yeah,
and so I knew ALU doesn't need me to get an A.
yeah,
You know, ALU requires a bare minimum C plus, and also needs me to put as much effort in my co-curriculars, building my skills on the side. So for me personally, that was my speaking and other aspects of my leadership and my entrepreneurship. So the biggest conflicts that I had, in the next 3 years of my high school life was, I'm going out for funkies every other day. My teachers are complaining. You know about our teachers back in our school, yeah.
definitely.
We're not going to talk too much about that. But you got teachers saying, you should be in school, you should be studying. Why? You should be aiming for an A, aiming for an A.
Yeah,
But if you are being realistic, if we're going to be honest with each other right now, our teachers wanted us to get an A so that they can look good, when put next to their competing schools. So for schools like a school like us, another school, it was, oh, what is Nairobi school getting? What is Kenya High getting? How are those students performing? So it was more for them to look good than it
yeah,
was for us. The reason why I say that is because every single person had different academic goals,
yeah,
and our academic goals should, in one way or another, translate to what the career goals that we're setting. So for someone like Boniface Omina, my career goal doesn't need me to have set an academic goal for an A.
yeah,
You get what I mean? Now, that translated to, what's happening at home as well. Internal exams are, that's a whole other, rodeo right there. But, your internal grades are not reflecting, you know, an A potential student and your parent is questioning you at home because now the teachers are telling your parent this. So, there are those challenges. But one thing that has worked for me is that I am very stubborn with what I want for myself. And this is the good type of stubborn. I'm not stubborn on, I want to go get drunk Monday to
Yeah.
Friday. I'm not stubborn on the negative things. I'm stubborn with, this is what I believe, this is what I want for myself. This is what I believe is
Yeah.
right for myself. This is what I believe God wants for myself. So funny enough, by the time, our KCSE results were coming out, I feel like my parents thought that I was gonna fail. They thought I was gonna get below a C plus because of what my internal exams were telling. Grades were reflecting. But I was able to get a really good grade, get them off my back. But even after I finished high school, there's still I want to tap into these different industries. you
Yeah.
know but our parents are amazing. They want certain the good things for us. Their parent has an idea of what you should be doing after high school and stuff like that. But I feel like what you want for yourself is more important. And this is something that I talk about a lot. We put so much weight on other people's opinions about ourselves. And this is from things like, your parent wants you to do this in university, or, oh, my friend doesn't like the shirt that I'm wearing, or, oh, what are my followers going to think when I post this? Oh, I
Yeah.
have that pimple on my face, or, oh, my shoes are dirty and stuff like that. We put so much weight on other people's opinion. And that's the biggest, like, I'm going to say this on record, that's the biggest problem that's facing young people across the African continent. And I'm saying African continent because here at ALU, I've been able to observe, some of these social constructs are, around, how people interact, how people, move, how people, are socializing with each other. And the moment, my biggest belief is that only two people's opinion matters, God's opinion about you and your opinion about yourself. So that has also been the driving force of the various decisions that I've made over the years. Of, all right, I want to take 2 gap years before joining university, and this is what I'm
Yeah.
going to do in those 2 gap years. Um, I'm going to do this program in Strathmore University. I was able to build a startup in those 6 months. Got selected to take part in this other program in the US, an accelerator program to develop the same startup. By the time I was flying out, that's a whole other story. By the time I was flying out, I didn't have my tuition. I didn't know where I'm getting money for my school. I didn't know whether I was going to get a part-time job. And the school still demanded me to foot my tuition. My parents were not in a position to support me financially. So again, that financial independence was necessary. That necessity came about, because of what I believed, I wanted for myself. And one thing that I also believe is that don't dream big if you're going to expect other people to cater for, how would I phrase this? Don't, like, for example,
Yeah.
I wanted to study overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah. My parents' financial capacity cannot allow me to study overseas. It can only afford my Strathmore education.
Yeah.
So if you're going to choose to dream big, you better take responsibility of that dream
Yeah. Definitely.
and say, I'm the one who's chosen to dream big, and I'm the one who's going to make sure I achieve, that big dream, and not just have to depend on, my parents to try to, to cater for that. You know, if you can't dream big and sustain it, then dream small.
Yeah.
It's it's all up to you. The ball is in your court. If when talk about ALU, my ALU journey goes back 5 years. I knew what sacrifices I need to make.
Yeah.
I knew, what, who are my, who might get upset, what hard work do I need to put in? What do I need to make sure that I do over these next 5 years, so that, come my first year, I'm studying abroad. So I feel like, that's something that's very important for young people to also understand. Like, how passionate are you, how sold out are you to what you believe God wants for you? And I always bring God to the picture because the promises do come from him. He's the one who's set his destiny for you. And when he was talking about, oh, what I want Daddy Africa to accomplish, he didn't say, oh, he didn't ask, your mom, oh, what do you want for your son? No, he wasn't asking your friends, oh, what do you think And like, it's funny because our opinions about people will never change the blessings that are coming their way, will never change what God has for them.
Yes.
So that's just how useless our opinions are, come to think of it. So and that's why you shouldn't put so much weight in other people's opinion. As bad as it sounds, your parents' opinion is your parents' opinion about you. It doesn't necessarily have to translate to your reality. So if
Yes.
you believe that what you want for yourself is good, is right, and is in line with God's will for you, and just because I had dreads last year, bro, and that now imagine that conversation in the household, with my folks.
In an
But
African
you
household.
in an African household,
Yeah.
my parents are both over 55. My dad is 60, my mom is 58. They're retired, so these are archaic, ancestors over here we're talking about. But how good are you at negotiating? How good are you at articulating what you want for yourself in a very
Yeah.
respectful way? Respect should always be at the center of it all. So like I've had my parents, like when I wanted to move out, my dad did not want me to move out. But he was like, okay, if you move out, you pay your own rent. No one was kicking me out of the house. I'm the one who woke up and said I want to move out. All right, you chose to dream big. This is your dream. Don't expect me to pay your rent. And I moved
Yeah.
out. First month I was struggling, to look for my own rent. But he came around, eventually. When I got my piercings, it was the same old story. But I was very stubborn with what I want for myself. When I wanted to come to ALU, my dad didn't even know what ALU was. But again, how sold out are you on what the dreams that you have, on what you're passionate about? Like when you were starting your show a couple of years ago, Daddy Africa, I feel
Yeah.
like you had your vision for what you want to do with this show.
Yes.
And of course people said this and that. The people who are there motivating you, the people who are doubting you.
Yeah.
But I don't know, what is it, 3 years down the line, I'm guessing right now.
Two
Yeah, 3 years
actually.
down the line. 2 years.
Yeah.
Oh, we still got another year coming up. But 2 years down the line, you can look back and see the different things that you've been able to accomplish with this show, the people you've been able to reach, people
Yeah.
who you've been able to host. Your show is now international. You're talking to me up in here in Mauritius, know what I'm talking about?
Man, I'm honored,
And
man.
there it is, man. So one thing that if this conversation, if I can just end this with one thing,
Yeah.
biggest challenge is other people's opinion and your mindset towards these opinions. So if you're able to take control of that mindset and filter out the opinions that you need in your life, take the advice that you need to take from people and throw aside the rest, then that's where primary focus should be as a young person. Because the challenges that we're facing as young people in 2021 is very different from what university students were facing back in 2018, 2017.
Yeah.
And it's very different from what people are going to be facing in the next 5 years. So this is your time, this is your generation. How are you going to go through your challenges? Because in the next 10 years we'll be here with our kids, man. We'll be here with our wives, with our
Man,
families. And funny thing, one thing that people don't realize, that your children are going to hold you accountable to the decisions that you're making today. Because the
definitely.
decisions that you're making today are going to affect their lives in 10 years. So whether you're going to be well off, wealthy, being able to provide everything that you need to provide for your kids, or whether I'm going to be as realistic as possible, whether in 10 years you're not going to have put in the hard work, effort, and dedication to accomplish what you're dreaming. Your kids are going to ask you, hey daddy, when you were in high school, you used to go for parties, South Soul events, you had money for those things. Why don't we have money for those things? And
Yeah.
your kids are going to check you. Your kids are going to give you some reality checks over there, and they're going to be the innocent questions of, oh, why don't we have a big card? Oh, why don't I have nice clothes? And the tough times that we're giving our parents now, our kids are gonna make us pay for it, when they're also checking us and asking us those tough questions. So
Yeah.
these are things that we should be thinking about on a daily. And this is where I feel our motivation should be. How can we create that generational wealth? How can we set ourselves up to live comfortably in 10 years? How can we work together? I love, y'all who know me, I'm passionate about my friends, and I love, what, friends can do for each other when they come together. So
Yeah.
how can we form partnerships? How can we work together? How can that, can Daddy Africa call me and tell me, hey, let's work on this project together. This is what it's going to do for us, and let's work on that. The networks that we built over high school, the networks that we're building in university, are what are going to carry us over the next couple of decades. So my 2 cents on that is, keep the right people around you, listen to the right people, and care about the right opinions. Yeah.
Those are amazing insights, I must say, bro. I mean, I don't know even what to add, because you've actually really pointed it out and made it clear to everyone, and given personal experiences and what you have occurred, what has happened to you. So I'm really glad, and I'm honored to have this opportunity to be with you, and even to do the first interview with you in 2021. I mean, it's a great start for the year, right?
I'm humbled, man. I appreciate you so much, man. This is a blessing.
Yeah, so I don't know. Honestly, I can't add any more, and I'll have to come to the end of this amazing episode, because probably you have Valentine plans.
Yeah, we got the Valentine's today.
We are at work. You are going for Valentine's.
Oh, happy to see it, man.
Yeah, so do you have any last word for the people, so I can close the show? And so that,
what I'd say, this is something that I say every single morning. I have my group of friends. We work out together in the morning. And after our workouts, the message that we take forward over the course of the day is make it a point to make someone's day better. Whether it's making someone laugh today, whether it's making someone smile, doing something, nice for someone, being kind to someone. You never know, what, that kind gesture can do for someone. You can light up someone's day. You can, people are going through some tough times out here, and being kind is doesn't cost anything, and it can do so much for people. So my message for you, wherever you are, listening into this, make it a point to make someone's day better. I think that's what I'd say.
That's amazing. And you know what? Coincidentally, I also strive and try to make someone smile that day, such that when probably after me talking to you, I'll be like, by the way, are you really happy? How are you doing? Are you good? That will make me happy. So I think that's an amazing coincidence to have that, because it's actually really true. People really go through a lot. And guys, we come to the end of this amazing episode of My Talk with the Africa interview with Boniface Omina. And guys, subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'll leave the links down below on where
can I do the closing?
Yeah,
can I do the outro?
Okay.
Here we go, guys. So make sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Post a comment. Let us know your thoughts on this amazing interview. We will share the links to this video. If you want to, share it with your friends, share it with your friend's friend, your family member, your person in the kiosk out there. Send it to your high school teacher. If you have to. But share this amazing love. Share this amazing message. But I want to do those YouTube outros. It's so good.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And this is how I normally finish. I tell people, kwaheri tukutane tena.